Streaming.
Hi, how you doing? This is Rich on behalf of Rich TV Live, and I'm here with a very special guest. It is Emma Andrews. Thank you for being here again.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I'm excited to have you here again, and Emma Andrews is the COO of BevCanna. And why don't we get started by you giving us a little bit of an update on BevCanna since we last met?
I know it's been busy actually. So in no particular order, we've been crushing a lot of different milestones for the company. Most notably, we've gotten our research license in the last 2 weeks. So this is very exciting. It means we get to handle cannabis up at the bottling plant. We've announced the results of stability testing of a powder that we're working on down in the US. We've announced some partnership agreements around outdoor cultivation, and we've been working through some product development in terms of pitching these products to provincial distributors. So a lot of the milestones that'll get us that early mover advantage into the market. We also announced 2 of our beverage brands, which I'm excited to talk to you about today as well.
That's exciting. That's a lot of news.
Yes, that's probably not even all of it, honestly.
Wow. Well,
as we get into things.
Let's get into the big news of the day is that you signed a 130-acre outdoor cannabis cultivation. What does this mean for you as a company as well as for any potential investors?
Yeah, it's very exciting. So we're partnered with a group called Clearwater CannGrow. Joey Bedard-Brunet is the head of operations, so he's going to be joining our team as the master grower and general manager of the outdoor cultivation site. So off of 130 acres, it's right where the bottling plant is. So it means that we'll be able to use that biomass to infuse our beverages and expand into other product categories as well, or sell that biomass to some of our white label partners.
Wow.
130 acres is massive, so we'll be able to extract 100,000 kilograms of biomass, which can be 10,000 kilograms of cannabis oil off of that property.
Wow, that's
huge.
Impressive.
Yeah.
That is very, very big news. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about your research license, which you just mentioned?
Yeah, this one's exciting because up until now, a lot of the work that we've done has been based with non-infused product, using using hops as an analog, and now we get to actually handle cannabis on site. So we can work through a lot of the SOPs that will help us scale up our equipment and our process to full commercial scale production. The only limitation on this is you can't obviously take product to market, so we still have to get the standard processing license in order to sell product into the market. But this allows us to get everything ready up to that milestone, so it allows us to really expedite our process.
Wow, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, you also recently successfully tested cannabis powder technology. What does deeper green mean for BevCanna?
So deeper green is a powder, a water-soluble powder. So this will allow us to expand our product portfolio beyond just ready-to-drink concepts into drink mixes. So if you think about any given occasion where you want a cannabis-infused beverage, some of them you'll need something that's more convenient, that's lighter weight, that you can travel with, that's more discreet. So powder is a perfect product format for those types of consumption occasions. Also, when you think about some of the existing categories like electrolytes or protein powders, this is all a powdered-based drink, so we want to be able to offer consumers a whole spectrum of products.
Wow.
And this is a big move for us in California. This will be likely one of the first products that we launch in California.
Wow, and that's a huge market in California.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of competition for powder down there. There's a number of ready-to-drink options on shelf, but retailers are really hungry for this type of product concept. Very shelf-stable.
Wow. Now, BevCanna has also revealed 2 brands, first one being Anarchist Mountain and Grove. Could you tell us a little bit about these brands and what we can expect in the future?
Yeah, it's called Groove.
Groove, sorry.
Feeling groovy, right?
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's there. We got to make sure everybody's got the name right.
Yes,
from here on out, totally. So Groove, starting with that one, that is our balanced CBD and THC iced tea beverage. Really easy drinking. So this is meant to be something you'd relax and unwind with at the end of the day. If you kind of think about, especially summertime, like the patio, the beach, after a day of gardening or out in the sun. So there's 4 different iced teas in that portfolio. We'll start with a ready-to-drink format, 355 ml, so a nice kind of small, easy drinking. You might have 1 or 2 in an evening. And there's an iced tea, there's a green tea, there's a rooibos, and an herbal. Wow. So really a wide variety for a lot of different consumer palates. Wow. And then Anarchist Mountain, I'm really excited about Anarchist Mountain because it's a very authentic brand for BevCanna. The bottling plant is on Anarchist Mountain, so that's where the name for the brand came from. All of the flavor profiles in that brand are based around the Pacific Northwest, so things like sumac cranberry and wildflower peach, so really botanical inspired. So if you think you're a craft cocktail consumer, this is the brand I think that's really going to speak to them, or craft beer consumer. And that's a THC dominant product. So there'll be a range of different cannabinoid profiles, everywhere from 5 milligrams to 7.5 milligrams to 10 milligrams. So depending on your tolerance and what kind of experience you want in the evening, you can kind of pick your flavor and your potency within that one. Both those products will ideally use bud that's grown on our own property as well too.
Very good. You've got a product here with us.
This one's just water, but this is the spring water that's from our bottling plant. So this is just a promo water that we're doing for the short term until we can infuse. Soon this will be infused, right?
Very good, very good.
Now.
I like it. I like the bottle. It looks very classy.
Thanks. Yeah, this is far from what Health Canada will allow us to put in market, unfortunately.
Really?
But as I was sharing with you, we're doing some prototype development right now at the bottling plant with fully compliant labels. So we're working through everything from a label perspective, from a packaging perspective, so that we know we can produce compliant product, submit that to the provinces, and share it with partners as well.
Wow, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your recent partnerships? Are there any more in the pipeline as well?
Oh, definitely. Of course there's more. The ones that I can speak to right now actually would be most specifically our partnership with Clearwater CannGrow.
Okay.
So Joey, the head of operations, has been growing hemp, organic hemp for a number of years now. He's both experienced and educated as a horticulturalist and agriculturalist in that region. So brings just a great depth of knowledge to the operation, and that's something BevCanna is really anchored in, is experts. Whether it's beverage and bottling and manufacturing and creating brands, or whether it's outdoor cultivation, or whether it's our partnership with Nextleaf as well. We really want to make sure that we're working with the best in the business. So yeah, this recent definitive agreement with Clearwater CannGrow is just another testament to that concept of working with experts in their field.
Fantastic. You did mention a little bit about Nextleaf. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership?
Yeah, so we announced our supply agreement publicly. It was part of our definitive agreement when we went public, part of our prospectus when we went public. But the supply agreement with Nextleaf is going to be game-changing within the industry. They are proven experts in defendable IP within extraction, refinement, and purification technology. So the distillate that they're able to produce off their patented process is odorless, tasteless. It makes the perfect medium to infuse into beverages. You don't want to taste the cannabis. You want to taste the flavors or the spring water. So that distillate and their water-soluble IP as well as part of the exclusive supply agreement. So we'll be the sole beverage partner that they work with.
Wow,
yeah.
That's exciting. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited.
For those of you guys that don't know, Nextleaf Solution symbol is oils. And BevCanna symbol is?
BEV.
There you go.
Easy to remember, right?
Yes, it is. Now, could you please elaborate on your partnership with Dossier Creative?
They are a branding agency that are here in Vancouver. They have a 30-year legacy, most particularly in consumer packaged goods and the beverage industry. So led by Don Chisholm, deep expertise in working on nutraceuticals, natural health products, alcohol even. Don himself was the creator of Mike's Hard Lemonade, so brings a lot of expertise to the table for our team, and he serves as our Chief Innovation Officer. What I think is really unique about Dossier is they're not just your traditional branding agency. They really get involved in production, so even up at the plant level, understanding how to optimize our process, how to optimize production of different form factors. As an example, they're headed down to Pack Expo next week in Vegas, so they'll be assessing different types of equipment we can use to really build out our beverage portfolio into different form factors like glass, aluminum, looking at child-proof lid closures. These are all things that are both relevant for compliance, but also relevant to help us stand out at shelf. So they're fantastic partners for us to work with.
Wow, congratulations on that. It seems like you guys have so much news since we've last talked.
Right.
It seems overwhelming a little bit. Now, if there is one thing you want investors to know about BevCanna, what would it be?
The premise for our brand is really to be built on expertise. So I mentioned that previously. We are beverage branding experts, so proven expertise in that vertical, and then making use of existing world-class infrastructure. This is a really big catalyst in this industry and the timing of this industry to be able to move ahead quickly and with confidence. There's a lot of people that will be entering the beverage space without the depth of expertise. There'll be a very steep learning curve to go through. And as we've even seen being experts, there's a lot of little nuances in getting your packaging to be fully compliant. And without the confidence to work through some of that and knowing how to do it in an expedited process, I think a lot of people will have eagerness to get into the market, but it'll take them a long time. So I feel very confident about our ability to be early movers in this market and establish strong leadership based on that expertise.
the way things are going, it looks like BevCanna is going from strength to strength. Can you tell us a little bit about what's coming for the rest of the year?
Yeah. A big part of this is moving into commercial scale production. So
Great.
right now under the research license, it's a lot of SOP creation, working through our prototype development. We just actually onboarded our new director of QA as well, who comes from the beverage industry. So having all of these components in place allows us to get ready for full commercialization, which means producing at scale, but it also means understanding our cost of goods, in terms of how we're going to work with white label partners in addition to our own house brands. So it's really scaling the business. As you know, the regs take effect in October. Health Canada said, there'll be likely a 60-day window before you start to see the first products in market. But really 2020 is the rollout of these products. So we want to make sure that we're positioned well to launch our own brands with strong supply agreements across the country. And that we're also ready with all of our white labeling partners to make sure that they can fulfill the volume expectations they have for all their different provincial distribution agreements as well.
Yeah, that brings me back to one question. So edibles is legalizing, but CBDs isn't legal.
It will with the infused product category. So it still has to be sold through regulated retail channels, but you could have CBD exclusive products, you could have blended products with both THC and CBD. There is a consultation period going on right now for a class of products that would be cannabis health products, that would be CBD exclusive products. Maybe in time those get distributed through different retail channels like your natural products retailers. That's my hope. It's a non-intoxicating compound and ideal for wellness outcomes. So future state might change, but right now it'll be sold through regulated retail.
Okay, great. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, what is the best way for shareholders and potential investors to get in touch with the company?
Best way is through our website, so BevCanna.com. There's a number of different value-added assets that you can download, including some highlights from a consumer research study we undertook. You can download our investor deck and contact us through there as well. Though there's a contact form folks can reach out, whether they're curious about investing, whether they're curious about white labeling or licensing agreements. We're always open to new business opportunities and chatting with those that are interested about the business strategy too.
That's great. Well, we really, really love what you guys are doing. I think you guys are on the right track. Can you tell us a little bit about this conference you were at?
Yeah, so we were just at ICBC, which is the International Cannabis Business Conference. The last couple of days, I was actually sitting on a panel with a number of stakeholders speaking about regulations for infused products that are coming soon. So we were speaking a lot about some of the challenges and some of the opportunities. And for myself, I really look at strict regulations might feel like handcuffs to a lot, but I kind of look at it as a framework in which you can play. So unlike California or unlike the US where it's not federally legalized, there's not a lot of federal oversight, so much more open to interpretation. But here in Canada, we have very strict boundaries. So if you can get creative within those boundaries, it's your opportunity for the taking.
Absolutely. We have a few questions from the audience.
Great.
Will you be doing distribution in Europe?
Great question, actually. So there's one of the things we've been working on over the last while too.
Great.
We've just had a GMP audit at our plant. You need
Great.
GMP verification in order to export to Europe. So once we have our standard processing license and GMP certification on the plant, which is underway, we'll be able to export overseas to legal markets.
And will you need to get FDA approval for large-scale US sales?
So there is no FDA approval on CBD infused product right now. There's no federal oversight in the US. So it would be on a state-by-state basis. So we're looking at California. It's not only a fairly mature market, less so than Colorado as an example, but market size, massive opportunity, and that's the most progressive consumer market in the US. So California is really our focus and looking at state-wide regulations.
Okay. What do you think about the state of the cannabis and CBD market right now for investors? What do you think?
I think a big focus is on brands, but I think people should really do their research to understand what that company knows about creating brands. So have they done it before? Is there proven expertise in highly regulated industries? So for BevCanna, as an example, we've worked in nutraceuticals, we've worked with natural health products, getting Health Canada approval. The bottling plant that we work out of has produced a beverage called Trace Beverage that now is gaining FDA approval. So we've worked through strict compliance before. So that kind of proven expertise is what I'd really encourage investors to look at if you're starting to move towards the CPG space, consumer packaged goods. We're getting away from true, pure cultivation plays and into more strategic business that's focused on the next generation, which is infused products.
What about revenue? We've been noticing that there's been this trend in the cannabis sector where, I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, nobody had revenue. Now we're starting to see companies move into revenue, and it seems as though that's kind of becoming the norm. The investors and market makers want to see revenue. What are you guys looking like as far as like revenue? Do you have any revenue forecasts for the company?
So two ways I would look at this as well is there's revenue that can be gained off of mergers and acquisitions, and then there's revenue that's organic revenue. So I would really focus on organic revenue. There's the most opportunity for that vehicle that you're putting your money behind. With BevCanna, as an example, it's house brands. That would be our organic revenue. And then even with our outdoor cultivation site, we'd previously been looking at crop share agreements, and now we've been able to create equity on that site with Clearwater CannGrow joining forces with us under BevCanna's business entity. So it's a lot more opportunity for organic revenue. And then multiple revenue streams. I think that's important too, that you're not focused on only one opportunity. So with BevCanna, we've got white labeling agreements, we've got house brands, we've got our outdoor cultivation of biomass, and then entering down into the US market in addition to our Canadian strategy. So multiple revenue streams and really making sure that it's organic revenue growth.
Great. And how many distribution channels do you have?
So for Canada, this is, if viewers aren't aware, it's on a province by province basis, which is a fragmented approach. It's one of the frustrations I would say that exists for Canadian companies. So every different province has its own agreement with a licensed producer. So we've submitted to Ontario and BC so far. They've put out product calls for our category. Even though it's still coming, they're getting ready, which is fantastic. So we're in a really good place to enter those two markets. And then we'll be targeting other sizable markets like Alberta, which has the most number of retail licenses issued. And then the East Coast even, because they're one of the more progressive consumer bases in terms of their rate of adoption. So again, it's on a province by province basis. And right now it's the preliminary stage of showing your products to the province, getting approval. Will be actually at the Ontario Cannabis Stores vendor days in October. So we'll be showcasing our products to retailers there.
Great.
And then you're basically seeding the market right now for that early market awareness so that when the regulations take effect, when your product's ready to be ordered, there's already that awareness in the marketplace about you. So that's a big focus for us right now.
Very good. We got a lot of questions coming up. What puts BevCanna above its competitors such as Sprout?
So again, it's the existing bottling infrastructure. I think in that instance, Sproutly has some innovative technology to their credit. And so I think technology is a big part of creating formulations that both taste good and are efficacious. But if you can't produce them, then there's nothing to offer consumers. There's nothing to put into the market. So the world-class bottling site that we are able to take advantage of, it's a 40,000 square foot bottling plant in Osoyoos, BC, with a spring water aquifer on site. So premium water source, existing infrastructure, and the ability to scale rapidly with both of those two assets.
That's great. And any products ready for Canada in October?
So we have two products, or two brands, I should say, Groove and Anarchist, as we've mentioned. Those are the two brands that we'll be taking to market first.
Great.
The final stage for us is to achieve our standard processing license. So we anticipate that will be in early 2020. Which would allow us to then sell our products into the provinces that we've already had those agreements in place or proposed our products to those provinces. So there's parallel paths that happen at the same time. While you're waiting for your license, you can move forward with creating all the SOPs at the plant under the research license, meeting with the provincial distributors to get approval on your products so that it's not kind of a wait and see till you get this license. Again, parallel pathways as you're moving towards that milestone. And I encourage consumers and viewers to really think about this as a rollout. And coming off of the International Cannabis Business Conference these last few days, that was a really big key. Is it's not this start line and everybody's lined up and everybody presses go at the same time. It really is going to be a trickle down. And consumers of flower over the past year since legalization will know that too, that supply increased and product assortment increased over time, and the types of brands you could access in different markets expanded over time. We'll see the exact same thing with the infused product.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because it seems like we've been doing this forever, but it's not even been 1 year.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I mean, it's to the day, it's almost 11 months, right?
Yeah.
So October 17th, was the day of legalization. So we haven't even been 1 year.
Yeah.
But we've seen so much happen in the sector. What do you think about what happened to CannTrust? I'd like to know your opinion on that.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's halted right now.
Totally.
So everyone's like, what's the news?
Yeah.
We're thinking it might be something from Health Canada.
Yeah.
Right? A company just lost a license today as well.
Yeah.
For doing something maybe not even as bad as CannTrust. So what do you think?
There was always going to be these first instances, I think, where somebody was going to be made an example of. It is unfortunate that it's CannTrust. I did enjoy some of their product over the past year and know a few of their team members intimately, actually. So it is a big shame because it was a reputable company prior, and it's sad to see that that turn of events. But that was Health Canada's diligence, I think, to make sure that people were aware that this can't be tolerated if there is contraventions of what a license entails. I think too with that, as far as what conversations with other stakeholders in the industry, it puts a lot more expectation on your quality assurance team members.
Absolutely.
And what types of corporate governance you have in place for checks and balances to make sure that these events don't occur. So all the more reason to make sure your board of directors is really sound, really involved and engaged in your business, to make sure that you have the right QA reporting in place, and to make sure that you have a team that's really aligned in the vision, which should be about quality and trust with your consumers and with regulators, because ultimately they're the ones that control your ability to go to market and can control the value of your business. So
absolutely.
Yeah, play by the rules. I hate to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard because obviously, I mean, I've been to some kind of cannabis conferences, and CannTrust had the biggest booths.
Mm-hmm.
They had like 20 employees working there. They looked like the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
They really look like CannTrust. Like, look at their name, right?
Yeah.
So they just seemed like the cream of the crop. They seemed like they had everything going for them, and it was shocking to see that they were not just doing this in one facility, but multiple facilities. And I don't think Health Canada is going to take it easy on them, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it will set a precedence for the rest of the industry and the rest of the sector that, hey, if you want to be part of this, and you are lucky enough to be a part of this revolution, an illegal industry turning legal, you need to keep your nose clean.
Yeah.
And I think it's good because, like I said, an illegal industry turning legal, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's been happening for years behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So growing cannabis behind walls was something that had been happening for years. So there was going to be a little bit of a mix of this. I think we anticipated it. I think it was shocking to see it was from CannTrust, such a big company.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to get through it. I've always said I think they'll be able to get through it, but I don't know. It's starting to look less and less likely that they're going to come out of this unscathed. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as far as the future of BevCanna, now there's a question here. Does BevCanna have sales and distribution licenses from Health Canada?
Not yet. So that comes with our standard processing license. So that's the ultimate milestone, obviously, that we need to achieve before you're able to purchase product in stores. We are in our final evidence submission stage right now.
Great.
I mentioned before, we're working with former Health Canada regulators as part of our application preparation. For those that may not know all the nuances of this is like the last 10 yards. So the facility is fully built and established, which is the major milestone, truly, because that's a lot of infrastructure investment or a lot of equity or equity that needs to be in place before you can submit that final submission package. So this last stage really is about making sure that you've crossed all your T's, dotted your I's. So security camera installation, the right entrance and exit protocols. So it's a lot of just kind of last final verification pieces. The bottling plant, as I mentioned, it exists right now. With the regulations in place, there can be no non-infused product being created out of your infused product areas. So we've had to create a partition between two different production lines as well. So a little bit of construction, but a big focus on security, which is the last kind of check marks in place before we submit.
So you guys are almost there.
Yeah, totally.
That's exciting. Question from Beth is, with Coors and Constellation brands providing large capital for their cannabis partners, how does BevCanna differentiate their products and compete against these big money players?
I think one of the value props for us is that we will be servicing as a white label provider. So in comparison to Constellation and Trust, which is the joint venture between Molson Coors and Hexo, We'll all be producing our own house brands. So, depending on the consumer, they might prefer one over the other, whatever their taste preference or their format preference or their potency preference is. But for the revenue, in terms of how BevCanna will position itself in the market, we'll be able to work with other licensed entities, which creates really strong partnership agreements, but also the ability to have a lot of presence on shelf, using our infrastructure, using our assets like the spring water aquifer. I really do believe that the quality of the ingredients is going to matter and be a paramount differentiator of product. Spring water is an exceptional, clean tasting type of beverage. So if you're looking for CBD infused water, if you're looking for something that has minimal additives, the water's really got to shine and the technology's really got to shine.
Very good. And how many employees does the company have at present?
Yeah, so we're in a master licensing agreement with Naturo Springs, which is the bottling plant. So there's about 10 to 15 employees up at the bottling plant for production and operations right now. Through our design partnership with Dossier, we have a team of 5 dedicated designers that are working on production of the form factor as well as design of our labels. And then out of our head office and our executive team, as well as members of our quality assurance team, we have an additional 10 that are working there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So you guys are definitely growing.
Building, yeah.
Now, you're putting CBD in water. What is that going to do for someone? Someone says, okay, I got BevCanna, I got this bottle. I'm going to drink this. Is there going to be any characteristics or side effects? Is there going to be anything good that's going to happen? What's someone going to get out of drinking your water?
Yeah. To get nerdy for a minute here, with CBD, I really like to ensure people are aware it's non-intoxicating, but it is still psychoactive. Yes. So what I mean by that is if you're having anxiety, as an example, if you are feeling blue or under the weather, CBD is psychoactive in terms of helping you feel better. So that's kind of the easiest and simplest way to explain it. But it's non-intoxicating, so it doesn't impair your ability to make decisions, to drive a vehicle, to go out in public, to socialize. So it's a very non-intimidating cannabinoid, very broadly appealing. So everyone from my mom to my nana can consume CBD. The one caveat I would say, though, is isolated CBD isn't as effective as when CBD is combined either with other terpenes or other cannabinoids. Viewers may be familiar with something called the Entourage Effect, and that's really what that describes, is the combination of different compounds really helps to bring out the full robustness of the experience. So it's not one-dimensional, it's a bit more three-dimensional, if you will. So for Groove, as an example, one of the beverage lines we're producing, it's a balance of CBD and THC, so 5 milligrams of each. Means it'll be a very moderate experience. That extra bit of CBD means that THC won't be overly intoxicating, so it won't be overwhelming. A nice mild experience. And we have more beverage brands in the works that will be CBD dominant. So again, no matter what the consumer is looking for, we'll have a beverage for them.
Okay, great. And a couple more questions. Mm-hmm. Do you see climate change potentially affecting the aquifer water supply in the future?
That's a great question. We have, I think it's 1,165 liter capacity per minute out of the well. So there's no intimidation for us in the future, both to use that water for our bottling plant as well as for irrigation on our outdoor grow. Just to give a little plug for sustainability too, I think one of the most important things people should be aware of in terms of how cannabis production and cannabis operations can affect greenhouse gas emissions and carbon footprint of an operation. Outdoor grown cannabis is the most sustainable way to create biomass to build this industry, and especially with derivative products coming online. If we're relying on indoor grown cannabis only, it's incredibly energy intensive. So the fact that we're going to be using outdoor grown cannabis, I think, just further reduces the impact of our operation on whole. But the water, I don't see being an issue for us at all.
Okay, great. I guess that's good for 48 North, because I think they're growing some huge outdoor grow.
And especially like derivative products, outdoor grow literally is the way to go, because you can use what potentially may be lower quality biomass compared to indoor grown, because there's just more environmental factors, there's more variables in an outdoor grow, but you're extracting it, so you're getting a purified extract off of that grow. So you're basically turning biomass into gold, really, and then creating all your infused products from it.
Now, one more question. Now, you heard that Curaleaf had an issue because they were putting on their labels terms like oh, this is healthy and this is going to save your life and this is going to help cancer.
Cannabis cures everything, don't
Yeah,
you know?
but it wasn't lab tested. They didn't have any evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to make you guys different than Curaleaf in the sense that, how are you going to be able to put out, your CBDs with, all of your, all the things you guys can do differently and not have some of the issues that they had where they put out product without really having it lab tested. Your products are lab tested. You guys what differentiates you from Curaleaf for the issues that they had?
So two things, I would separate that into the Canadian and the US ecosystem. In Canada, there's absolutely no health claims on the product.
Okay.
So product won't enter the market even with any types of erroneous claims on the package.
Okay.
So in Canada, it really is up to the user experience then informing the market, whether it's through reviews, testimonial, word of mouth, repeat purchases. That's what's really going to build it based on efficacy is your own experience of those products. And that's why I mentioned, including a little bit of THC with CBD so that you have the most efficacious experience. And then rapid onset time too, I think, which is a result of the type of infusion technology you use, so that you notice it quickly. So you're not waiting 2 hours and wondering, is it doing anything? Is it a placebo effect? Particularly with CBD, so rapid onset is huge. In the US, because there's no federal oversight, brands really can make whatever claims they want, and it's up to the consumer to call bullshit. So again, their experience of that product is paramount to what's claimed on package. But for BevCanna products that we'll put forward, we want to make sure that we have integrity behind our brand premise. So not making claims that aren't verifiable. I think one of the most obvious things that a brand can make a claim around is onset time. So you can do internal trials that would validate, less than 15 minutes or less than 10 minutes. But things like, this would cure cancer, I 100% wouldn't be going down that road of clinical trials. The three things that consumers find CBD will do for them most often is help with sleep, anxiety, and pain.
Yes.
So again, if you can create a product that actually delivers on that outcome, that's the most obvious opportunity for a brand. And it may not be making that claim on package, but it might be creating marketing stories that help people to see them using that product in certain usage occasions. So, portraying someone consuming before bed as an example, that's an occasion where you might be like, this could help with my sleep. So that's a little bit more of a safe play, but ultimately the proof is in the experience.
And Beth is asking, are you using cans or plastic bottles for environmental issues?
Yeah, great question. So our preliminary products will be in plastic bottles, and that's based on it being a conveyance line at the bottling plant. So again, getting a little technical, there's a lip around the top of this bottle here. So a conveyance line actually carries the bottles based on that lip. We're installing also a flex line, which will allow us to produce a huge assortment of beverages. So it doesn't require that lip. Like if you think about a traditional beer can, it doesn't have that lip. So it needs to go actually along a flex line. So more of a conveyor belt, if you will. One thing I really want to encourage consumers, again, getting a little nerdy, but to think about is it's not just the form factor itself, it's actually how much adherence there is to recycling. So plastic isn't the devil because this can be recycled into a new plastic bottle. So it's a closed loop, if you will, or 100% recyclable. Other form factors, like you see Tetra Paks as an example, those can't be repurposed into another Tetra Pak. So don't just think about the impact of the bottle itself, think about the whole ecosystem of recycling. So you can fully recycle plastic, aluminum, fully recyclable as well.
Great, we have lots of questions. Okay?
Keep it coming,
Okay.
Totally, yeah.
Do you see it being an issue growing outdoor in Canadian weather?
Oh, you get one season. So that's the only issue is maybe growing in a more equatorial environment, you might get 3 to 4 crops in a year, but you get one season. So, issues, yes, there's a bit of a risk if there's, an infestation or if there's bad weather that it could affect your crop. Because, as I mentioned, the biomass from outdoor grows is going to be used into derivative products. If the crop that year maybe wasn't the same potency as you'd hoped, maybe it didn't, the genetics didn't fully express themselves based on some of the environmental conditions that year, you still are able to extract cannabis oil from that biomass, refine and purify it to get really high quality purified distillate. So the outdoor grow that we have, 130 acres, is way more than enough to infuse our products. In fact, we'll be selling biomass back into the market. So I don't think it'll be a huge issue for us. And again, I think that's when you're looking at creating derivative products from outdoor grown biomass versus selling it as premium flower, which is best for indoor grown or greenhouse grown.
Okay, great. And will you have organic drinks?
Great question as well. So 2 pieces of education here. One, the outdoor grow that we have will be organic certified biomass.
Great.
But for organic certification, as an example, through the USDA organic certification, there's no federal oversight for cannabis. So it'll be hard to get a drink fully compliant under organic standards in the US in particular. You have to get all of your ingredients certified organic as well. So for a brand that we haven't announced yet, that will be more of a focus for that brand. For Anarchist and Groove, it's all natural is kind of the quality parameters that we want to formulate around it. Spring water, so that's as pure as you get. And then using natural flavors, no additives in the drinks whatsoever. So making sure that it's clean ingredients and formulated by natural standards is our primary driver.
Wow. Well, I think those are all the questions we got. Thank you so much.
Loved it, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Totally, my pleasure.
And once again, guys, this is Emma Andrews, the COO of BevCanna. Hopefully you guys get that license.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys get everything you guys are looking for. And our investors will be watching you. Congratulations on all your success.
Thanks.
All the relationships, all the partnerships. And I'm sure next time we do this again, there'll be even more news to talk about.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, have yourself a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
So we're live, so I guess you can go. And
Cool.
I'm going to stay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about your company.
Awesome. No worries. Yeah.
Have
Thanks,
yourself
Rich.
a great day.
I
Thank
really
you once
appreciate it.
again.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I can't wait to try some of your beverages.
Totally. We'll send them soon. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It'll be like probably a month, but before
That
you know
sounds
it.
great.
Yeah. Awesome.
So guys, thank you guys for watching. We're going to stay live here, and we're going to talk a little bit about BevCanna. If you guys have any questions, please hit me up right now. And in the meantime, I want to speak to you a little bit about the company. So one of the things that I really like about BevCanna, obviously, you guys are always looking at, Rich, why would you want to buy this stock? Why would you be interested in the stock? Why would you be interested in positioning yourself in the stock? In my opinion, I think this company is very undervalued, underappreciated, underexposed. But as you guys saw from Emma, this is a company that's just getting started. I mean, they're literally just getting started. They're not even really fully ready to go yet. They're not revenue generating yet. So this is a company that's just in the infancy stages. So if you want to get yourself into a good CBD beverage company with a very tight share structure, I don't know if we can pull up their share structure. Is it possible to pull up their share structure on here? Maybe someone can help me with this while we're doing this live. It'd be great to, right now we're at 52 cents. And if we scroll down, yeah, right there. So you see the shares issued and outstanding are 45 million. I really like the share structure. I think it's very tightly held. That's one of the key elements as an investor for me is finding stocks that have a good share structure. So right now, I think that this is a company that with the share structure and based on the fact that they're just getting started and based on the fact that they're pre-revenue, pre-licensed, but they're getting fully compliant and fully ready to go, this is the type of company that I would consider myself an early stage company. Underappreciated, underexposed, undervalued, with huge upside. Because as you see the company grow and build more and more partnerships with companies like Next Leaf Solutions, Symbol Oils, and you see the company start getting into revenue, and you start seeing the revenues grow quarter over quarter, this is the type of company I think could be trading at a much higher price. A, because they have a tight share structure. B, because they're pre-revenue. C, because they're pre-licensed. So once they get the license, once they get revenue, and once people start to really get to know this company and they start getting their name and their brand out there in the marketplace, I could see this stock really being one that could go up exponentially. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you guys to buy it today. What I'm suggesting is take a look at its chart, look at the 52-week low, look at the 52-week high, look at the share structure, and you tell me where you think the bottom is. Do you think this is the bottom at 52 cents? Do you think it goes a little bit lower? Do you think it goes higher? I'd love to know your opinion, okay? I want to know, do you guys think that BevCanna is a stock that you want to own, you want to buy? Do you think this is at the bottom right now? Do you think that there's upside from here? Or do you think it goes a little bit lower first before it goes a little bit higher? Now, clearly in the cannabis sector, we've been bleeding a lot over the last 5 months. We've had 5 months of red, which in my opinion is creating an amazing buying opportunity. So for those of you that are willing to get involved in the cannabis and the CBD sector, this may be the best opportunity to invest right now. Now, a lot of people have been wondering, Rich, when is this resurrection going to come? When is this resurrection going to come, Rich? When are we going to see a resurrection? It seems as though we've got a little bit of a delay. It seemed as though we were going to see the resurrection in September. The first week of September was great. Since then, we've seen the market kind of come back down again. I believe that's due to a few things. A, legalization 2.0, legalization of edibles, is going to be taking place October 17th, but like Emma talked about, it won't actually take place until mid-December. So they will legalize edibles October 17, 2019, but it won't actually take into full effect until December 17th, 2019, which means we're really going to have to wait until January 2020 to see a huge explosion, which hopefully edibles legalization will create in the sector. We saw it last year with legalization of cannabis in October of 2018. We saw a huge explosion leading up to legalization. Here, going up to legalization 2.0, edibles legalization in Canada, we have yet to see that explosion, and I believe it's because of the delay. The delay, which is going to be about 2 months, could potentially delay the explosion or the resurrection, which we've been talking about. We thought it was going to happen in September. Now it looks like we might be a little bit delayed. We might even have another red month here in September, which means that we most likely will see that resurrection either start in October or even maybe in November. So stay tuned. We'll keep you guys updated on everything that's happening. And hopefully for all of us involved, we will see a resurrection soon. If not, then in my opinion, this will be an amazing buying opportunity for an industry that, in my opinion, is only going to grow exponentially year over year. At the same time, people have to remember that this entire sector has been legalized in Canada for 11 months. That's right, 11 months. It hasn't been a year, it hasn't been 2 years, it hasn't been 5 years, it hasn't been 10 years. We're talking about a newly legalized industry that's been only legalized for 11 months. And from what I've heard, Health Canada has made it really difficult for a lot of these LPs. They've literally had to jump through hula hoops to get things done. That's why a lot of licensed producers are looking to move into America. And I believe that legalization of edibles is going to be enormous for revenue for a lot of the companies that we talk about on our show every single day, including BevCanna. And legalization of edibles, legalization of cannabis, legalization of CBDs, hemp, and all of those products in America is going to be an even bigger catalyst for the entire sector, because we have to keep in mind that America is 10 times larger population-wise than Canada. So you can't really compare what legalization in Canada means compared to what legalization in America would mean. So if you think about the fact that in Canada there's 30 million people, and in America there's over 300 million people, you have to anticipate that legalization of cannabis in America will be a much bigger catalyst than it ever was for legalization in Canada. So we're going to stay very, very focused on the news and updates on the entire sector. And hopefully we're going to see a resurrection. But if not, then this, in my opinion, is an amazing buying opportunity. But you can't just buy anything and everything. You need to invest in the best. I've said this to you guys a lot. Invest in the best. The best is blessed. In the cannabis sector, in the CBD sector, and in the hemp sector, invest in great companies, tight share structures like BevCanna, strong management. Clearly, Emma knows a lot about this sector. I'm really impressed. She knows a ton. And she kept saying, you know, I don't want to get nerdy, but I really like that she's very well educated on the sector. She understands intrinsically what she's doing, what her company's doing, what the rules and regulations are, and what it's going to take for her and the company to get over the hump and get to the next level. Because of that, it gives me a lot of confidence as an investor to think that this could be a company that could be a huge success. I'd love to know your guys' opinion. If you guys have any questions for me while we're live, please drop them in the comment section. Let's see here. Rain is saying, water, BevCanna will explode 2020. Yeah, water looks good. They've got some star power behind them. Marky Mark and Puff Daddy, from what I've heard, are involved in that company. And BevCanna looks really, really good with some of their partnerships. Like I said, with Next Leaf Solutions, oils is the symbol, as just one partnership that they mentioned. Robert says, what makes BevCanna better than the other competition in the cannabis sector? Well, I think that they, like Emma said, they have great facility that they're building. They've got an enormous property, 130 acres. To give you guys an idea of how big 130 acres is, I've been to Zenabis's facilities and it's 50 acres, okay? And they're growing, they're building they have a 2.1 million square foot facility on 50 acres. BevCanna has 130 acres. That's 150% bigger than Zenabis's facilities. Just to put that in perspective. So the amount of sheer size and the growth potential of BevCanna is extraordinary. And I'm assuming that a lot of other licensed LPs are going to want to work with BevCanna and partner with BevCanna for white labeling. So I think there's going to be huge potential here for BevCanna, and they are literally just getting started. Jason Garza says, be patient, friends. The upward trend is coming. And I believe it will. And we've seen that in this sector time and time again. Every single year, we see huge explosions up, and we see consolidations. And we see explosions up, and we see consolidations. In my opinion, that is because this is a newly regulated sector, a newly legalized sector, from illegal to legal, and it's been 11 months. So you have to give it time to mature. You have to give it time to develop. We've seen scandals like CanTrust, and we've seen huge success stories. We've seen Cannabis Growth be a huge success story. So there are many examples of success stories, and there's been some failures. I believe there will be more success stories, and I also believe there will be more failures. That is why it's vital for us to spend time with the CEOs, get to know the companies, do the research, look at the charts, look at the analysis, look at the share structure, get a chance to do some due diligence on the management team, learn about the sector that they're in, and really understand these companies inside and out before we actually make an investment, okay? Also, the best advice I can give to any investor is, before you go and you put your hard-earned money into any stock, date the stock. Watch them for a little while. Get a chance to see how they trade. Find the bottom. Find the trend. Where's the 52-week low on the chart? Where's the 52-week high on the chart? And ask yourself, are you buying the stock at the lowest possible price? At the end of the day, you have to be able to live with the investments you make. So in order to be successful, you got to buy the stock at the lowest price. And then when you see a return on your investment, my strategy's always been take your profits when you see them. Typically, people ask me, Richard, well, what's good profits? What do I take? I typically tell people, take your profits when you see them in the green, but for myself, 10% or more. When I see 10% or more gains, I'm always willing to press the trigger. So in my opinion, if you buy a stock and you're up 10% or more, you should already be thinking about selling. At that point in time, look at the chart and ask yourself, is it going up or is it going down? If it's going up, and the news and the trend is that the stock is going up, you would really have no reason to sell. You can hold it and try to get 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 100% or more. However, if you see the trend is turning and changing, and all of a sudden the stock starts to sell off, that's when you want to take your money, run, get out of that stock, wait for another dip and maybe buy it again, or maybe look for another position in another company, okay? So thank you guys for being here today. Let's see some of your messages. Sheldon Snow asks, is BevCanna looking to partner with any celebs? That's a great question. I would have loved to ask Emma that question. I'm assuming they are. Who wouldn't want to work with a celebrity? We're starting to see that trend, and I feel like that trend will continue. So I can't really answer for the company, but in my opinion, I think everyone wants that star power to be able to get out to the masses. So I'm assuming that they will most likely be looking for not just celebrity power behind them, but big partners to work with the company. Beth asks, are they planning to sell to retailers? I forgot to ask about their shipping model. I believe they're planning to sell to everyone. So in my opinion, they're going to be looking to sell to everyone and anyone. They're going to want to get on shelves. They're going to be looking to partner with other LPs that will white label their product. They're going to be able to want to distribute in every single way possible to be able to get their product out to the masses. Jason Garza says, I agree, Rich. Even with a positive political tailwind, it takes time to get the regulations in place. Slow governance. I agree. Christine says, you mentioned the Cantra scandal, but didn't mention the Aphria scandal a year ago. No one could vision a recovery from that. Yeah, great point. Aphria had a big scandal, but their scandal wasn't at the same level of what CannTrust has been caught doing. So Aphria did remove their CEO, and they've obviously gone down quite a bit since that scandal. CannTrust has had to actually stop selling. So they've gone a lot farther to try to address this issue because, in my opinion, they've got caught doing worse actions, taking black market seeds, growing, and then selling to the public is really frowned upon by Health Canada. Growing behind walls and hiding that from Health Canada is frowned upon. So they've gone a lot farther in the negative side of and the dark side of the sector and been caught doing it than Aphria did. So I don't really know who I can compare them with, but I will not be surprised to see Health Canada take away their license. Based on what I've seen Health Canada do with other licensed producers, I will not be surprised to see Health Canada go to those levels. And we've seen CannTrust actually fire and remove CEOs and directors. And just recently, they fired a bunch of employees because they've had to reduce their burn rate in order to stay afloat and stay in business, which is most likely a sign of what's to come, which I don't think is going to be very good. Jason says, hey, Rich, maybe they can partner with Namaste for distribution. Hey, yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of partners for them. They're located here in Vancouver, where there's a lot of potential LPs that they can work with, both licensed and unlicensed right now. So I think that there's going to be a lot of partners that are going to be interested in working with Bev Canada. Robert says, Rich, that's what I did on water, saw a deep drop and took a small profit and invested in Aurora. And that's a great idea. You're investing in Aurora right now at pretty much, near a bottom. I wouldn't say it's at a 52-week low, but it's pretty close to it. And Aurora has the most revenue of any cannabis company right now that is a licensed LP in the world. So it's not a bad decision to be investing in Aurora Cannabis. So smart thinking. Scott Norris says, I wanted to invest in BevCanna, a little nervous though. I went in Sproutly after the Moosehead deal, and as you know, it's tanked, so I will watch carefully. Yeah, I would suggest you date any stock that you want to buy, watch it for a bit, try to find the bottom, and when you see that bottom, based on the chart and based on the trend, based on the news and based on everything that's going on in the marketplace, that may be the best time to position yourself. This sector is highly volatile, very, very big highs and very low lows, and it goes up and down very violently, so be careful and invest with caution. Robert says, CannTrust halted. Hope you can talk about this once news comes out. Yeah, I would love to speak to you guys about it when it comes out. Right now, we're still waiting on the news. Sheldon says, wouldn't Health Canada have taken the license away already if they were going to? I don't know. I can't speak for Health Canada. It's been quite some time since they've made a decision. So it leads me to believe that there's going to be some serious sanctions imposed on CannTrust. Scott says, great interview, Rich. Thank you. Followed all you do for this sector. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys. And Sheldon says, hopefully the halt means Aphria is buying them out. And that's a possibility too. So thank you guys for watching today. I'm a big fan of BevCanna. I hope you guys can do your research, do your due diligence. And if you like this video, please smash the like button, comment down below, and let me know what you guys think about BevCanna, what you think about the interview. Do you think that this is going to be a big winner? Remember, this is an early stage CBD beverage company with enormous upside, only 40 million shares issued and outstanding, very tightly held, not a ton of dilution. So in my opinion, once they announce they've got those licenses from Health Canada, once they start selling product and they start showing revenue, we could see this bad boy go really, really a lot higher, in my opinion. Love to know your opinion. Comment down below. This is Rich from Rich City Live saying have a nice day.